London, 1905. The city was alive with the sounds of horse-drawn carriages, steam whistles, and the clatter of boots on cobblestones. In a small office tucked away on Hatton Garden, a young man named Hans Wilsdorf sat at a wooden desk surrounded by ticking clocks and glinting brass gears. Hans was just 24, an orphan who had built his life on determination. Where others saw a watch as a luxury, Hans saw a tool that could transform lives. At the dawn of the 20th century, wristwatches were considered fragile novelties, suitable only for women. Men still relied on pocket watches, which swung from chains like miniature pendulums. But Hans had a radical idea. What if a wristwatch could be as precise as the finest pocket watch? What if it could be trusted, in the boardroom, on the battlefield, or at sea? In 1905, he founded Wilsdorf and Davis, importing Swiss movements into England and casing them in gold and silver. 3 years later, he needed a name that was short, sharp, and universal. A name that would look as elegant on the dial of a watch as it sounded on the lips. The name he chose was Rolex. No one knew it then, but Hans Wilsdorf was about to redefine not just the wristwatch, but timekeeping itself. Rolex was born in an age of invention, and Hans Wilsdorf was obsessed with one thing: precision. In 1910, Rolex became the first wristwatch in the world to receive the Swiss Certificate of Chronometric Precision. This was not just an honor. It was proof that a wristwatch could be as accurate as any pocket watch in existence. But Wilsdorf's ambitions were greater still. He wanted a watch that could go anywhere, through rain, dust, sweat, and shock, and still keep perfect time. In 1926, Rolex unveiled a revolution: the Oyster case, the world's first truly waterproof wristwatch. To prove its durability, Rolex placed one on the wrist of Mercedes Gleitze, a young swimmer attempting to cross the English Channel. The world watched as she emerged from the icy waters, the watch still ticking. Rolex took out full-page newspaper ads calling it the wonder watch that defies the elements. This was marketing genius, but more than that, it was the birth of a legend. The Rolex Oyster was no longer just a timepiece. It was a symbol of human endurance. The 1930s and 40s were decades of explorers, adventurers, and pioneers. Rolex saw an opportunity. If their watches could follow humanity to the ends of the earth and survive, their reputation would be undeniable. In the 1930s, Rolex Oysters accompanied explorers into the Arctic, across the deserts, and even into the skies with early aviators. But the ultimate challenge still loomed: Mount Everest. In 1953, a British team set out to do what no human had ever done: stand on the summit of the highest mountain on Earth. Among the climbers were Sir Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay, the legendary Sherpa. On their wrists, Rolex Oyster perpetual watches. The climb was brutal: freezing winds, deathly thin air, and walls of ice that towered like glass. And yet, on May 29, 1953, Hillary and Norgay stepped onto the roof of the world. Rolex was there, on their wrists, in history. This was not a sponsorship deal. This was a proving ground. Rolex had done what no other watchmaker had. It had conquered Everest. Rolex could have stopped there. They had already built the most famous watch in the world, but Wilsdorf was not done. In 1954, Rolex unveiled the Submariner, a diver's watch waterproof to 100 meters. It became the standard for underwater exploration, later worn by Jacques Cousteau and countless naval divers. The GMT-Master followed, developed for Pan Am pilots to track 2 time zones at once as they crossed oceans. Then came the Day-Date, nicknamed the President's Watch, after being seen on the wrists of U.S. presidents, world leaders, and CEOs. And when Sean Connery's James Bond flicked his cuff in Dr. No, audiences got their first glimpse of a Rolex Submariner, forever linking the brand with espionage, danger, and style. Rolex was no longer just a watchmaker. It was a storyteller, and every model told a story of adventure, Today, Rolex stands as one of the most valuable luxury brands on Earth. Each watch is still assembled by hand, tested for months, and built to last not just a lifetime, but generations. Collectors wait years for certain models. Vintage Rolexes sell for millions at auction, but beyond the price tags and the prestige, Rolex represents something deeper. A promise that your watch can go anywhere you can, and beyond. From the depths of the Mariana Trench to the summit of Everest, Rolex has been there. Hans Wilsdorf's dream has outlived him. Rolex is not just a watch. It is a legend that keeps perfect time. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who loves history, adventure, and precision craftsmanship. And subscribe to Untold History for more deep dives into the brands, inventions, and mysteries that shaped our world.